Hi everyone, it's Ursula Adams here, athlete liaison at Brisbane Trail Ultra, and I have the pleasure of interviewing Jess Schluter, and I knew I was going to say her last name wrong, so I apologise, Jess. But it
All
is
good.
such a pleasure to have you with us today, and yeah, just for us to have a little chit chat about your running. Um, Thank you for being with us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So I have had a little look at your impressive running resume and am just blown away by your amazing achievements. But I guess to begin with, I'd love to know a little bit about what enticed you to, I don't know, to run at the Brisbane Trail Ultra. When did you first hear about it?
Yeah. I suppose I've known Shona for years and years. I don't know how many years, but quite a number of years. And we used to train together and she used to coach me and we've just known each other. And then when I found out that she was going to create BTU, I was like, yep, I'm in. I love those trails. Um, the course, well, I've only done the 110 and the course goes up to Mount Nebo and Mount Glorious, and they are like my favorite ever trails, I think, anywhere. So yeah, I just had to be a part because it's the home trails and I know Shona, and yeah, I was keen to be involved. And I probably also really um, I like sort of the difference that it's a course that's through the bush. That's Sydney having a moment at the front door. Sydney, come here. Um, I love that it runs through the bush and then it finishes in the city. I think that's such like a novel idea, and I love like in a couple of weeks doing BTU. I'm so excited like to get to that point in Paddington and cruise through the streets and then cruise along the river and finish with like that amazing view over Kangaroo Point. So yeah, I just really liked the idea of it, and it's home trails and I like Shona, so I had to be involved.
Right. Oh, so incredible. Oh, that's so beautiful that you and Shona have known each other for ages and you were coached by her for a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
while.
yeah.
So great. But you're right. Brisbane Trail Ultra is so incredible that you get a whole different variety of terrain, don't you? Yeah, from the trails to Mount Cootha to then running through the city of Brisbane, of a night time and running past all the pubs and clubs and people looking at you like you're crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's super cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so great. In your Brisbane Trail Ultra history, you haven't ever done 100 miler, and I hear that you signed up for the miler this time. How
Yes.
are you feeling about that?
Yeah. I'm pretty nervous. I probably don't know what to think really. Like training's gone really well. Like today was my last big long run before BTU. It's like 3 weeks out, and um I'm super excited. Like I'm super excited to see what happens because I have no idea what my body or my mind will do after about most I've ever done is 115K. So I have no idea what's going to happen. And so it's kind of just, I'm excited to see what happens and to see if I'm strong enough to do it. And I've got some super fun paces with me and a super fun crew. So I'm kind of just trying to see it as like it's just going to be a day on my home trails surrounded by people who I enjoy spending time with and see what happens. I'm trying, yeah, I'm trying really hard not to be like overly nervous about it and just take it for whatever happens.
I think that's probably the best way for you to
Yeah.
go into it because it's a bit of like no man's land if you've only gone as far as 110 before,
Yeah.
then add on another 50 Ks to that with a hell of a lot of elevation.
Yes. I remember the last time I did BTU 110 when you get up to Nebo and the milers shoot off up to Mount Glorious, and then the 110s are like, right, we're on my way back. And I remember running and there was a couple of milers around me and just thinking, oh, thank God I'm not going up to Mount Glorious. Thank God I'm turning back. So I'm hopeful that this year when I get to that point, I'm like, gee, I'm excited to go to Mount Glorious rather than going, I wish I'd chosen the 110. Hopefully.
Oh, how exciting though. I'm really
Yeah.
excited to see what you do. It'll be a really, really great race. There's by the looks of things, there's some good runners out there. So and a handful of other women out there, which is really great to see that more women are signing up for these huge races and seeing whether they can attempt these massive distances. I think it's incredible.
Yeah. Yes. I'm so excited to spend some time out there with, I know a couple of the runners and a couple of the other chicks. And so I'm hopeful that they're not too fast, that I can sort of maybe spend a bit of time chatting, but whatever happens, happens. And I'm also really glad that we're all starting at midnight. I just think that'll be a bit of a nicer vibe we're all starting at the same time, and, you know, hopefully there'll be maybe some more people to chat to and, you know, just spend a few hours out there together. So
yeah. And how do you feel about starting the race at a night time? Like that's a bit of a different thing as well. You're starting at night, then you'll be coming into the day, and then possibly, you know, still not getting to the finish line till night.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know how I'll feel getting up. Like, I normally fall asleep on the couch at like 7 o'clock. So I don't know, but a friend of mine once said to me, I started a race over in New Zealand at 3 a.m. a couple of years back. And he said to me, the sun won't come up till 7 and the race starts at 3. So he was like, the first 4 hours are basically free. Like they don't even count. So you'll just run for 4 hours and the sun will come up and then that's when the race starts. And so he's like, that's it, you won't even have noticed it. So I'm kind of taking the opinion of we start at midnight and then when the sun comes up at 6:30 or whatever, that's when the race starts. And like, I'm just going to pretend that, you know, those 6 hours in the dark didn't really happen. And all right, we just start now. Let's go. So I'm going
Oh,
to see them as 3 kilometers. I don't know if that's actually going to work, but that's my plan.
yeah,
Might be kidding
I like it.
myself.
I like it. Go with it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you've got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
I'm curious, and I guess others would love to know. You've had an impressive journey with your running. Um, I know that you've conquered quite a few events. You've been to the World Trail Champs overseas. When did you start running? How long have you been running? What got you into running to begin with?
So I did a bit of cross country at high school. I've always enjoyed running. But then, you know, finished high school and went to uni and enjoyed partying and maybe partied a bit too hard, and then realized that I probably needed to, you know, get a bit healthy and maybe a bit of fitness. And so then thought, oh, that's right. At high school, I used to really enjoy running. Why don't I give this a try again? And then sort of would do, you know, a little bit of running here and there in my early 20s. And then I started studying. I was doing my PhD and I was spending a lot of time at the computer and a lot of time just trying to use my brain. And I just found that I needed to get out. And I suppose that's probably when I started to run a bit more, because I was just like, oh, I just need to get out and about. And so, yeah, I finished that study, and I think I finished my PhD, I don't know, like in like July or something. And then that same month decided, right, I'm going to try my first half marathon. And then, like anything, half marathon turned into a marathon, turned into a ultra, which turned into 100 Ks, which has turned into 100 miles. And so I suppose like it's everyone's journey, isn't it? It's, you know, you always think more is going to be more, but I'll let you know in a couple of weeks if more is more, in my mind anyway. Yes.
It's so very true. I am one of those things escalated rapidly in my running journey as well. So
Yeah.
I don't know whether any coach would say that's the best way to do it. But look, you know, we get into running, we enjoy it, we become so passionate about it, and then we set these amazing, incredible goals and want to achieve them, right? How on earth? So you said you did a PhD. How have you juggled a PhD, running, doing incredibly well with running. Your training must be, you must be training quite a lot. How do you balance this work, study, running life balance?
I don't know if I have always balanced it particularly well. Yeah, I mean, it definitely, it's, I don't know, like I've probably had the realization in maybe the last 12 months. I think, I don't know when I ran my first ultra, maybe 2000 and maybe 2011 or 2012, something like that. And, obviously as the distances go up, the training goes up, and, working full time and studying and all that sort of stuff, like it was tricky. And I think probably about, what are we, 2023? I feel like maybe 3 years ago, I probably burnt myself out a bit with running. I think I was probably just, would do an event and then finish and then go, right, what's next? And then train for the next one, and probably didn't give myself that downtime and recovery time. And so I kind of, I try not to, at the moment, to kind of attempt some sort of balance, and maybe my partner may not think I'm particularly balanced, but I try not to, like plan too far ahead, because, like maybe, you do this event in March, and then you go, oh, and I want to do something in April, and then I want to do something. And I just think that I just need, maybe as I'm getting older, I don't know, need a bit more downtime and a bit more like cutting myself some slack, and doing the things outside of running a bit more. So like before I decided to do the Myla, I spoke with my coach, and I sort of said to him, look, I don't know if I said, what would training for a Myla look like? Because I'm not too sure. I've got extra time in my life, and I'm not sure if I want to take any extra time away from family and friends to train for it. And, really made that conscious decision to make sure that I could fit it in, because I don't want to go back to where I was a couple of years ago, where I just was burnt out with running and I wasn't enjoying it. And training was making me feel probably anxious to some extent. And so I've, I picked the goal of the Myla, and I've already decided, after the Myla, I'll take, a big bit of downtime and a big bit of, I won't have any events that I want to train for. I just want to take a step back and enjoy life and do the things outside of running. Like I love running, but, at the moment with training for this, it's, I'm up at 4 every morning, and you're trying to squeeze in a couple of hours training before work, and then you go to work for 8 or 9 hours, and then you get home and I'm cooked, and I'm probably not the most enjoyable person to be around. So I don't want to be like that 365 days of the year. So I'm like, you pick what you want to train for, and like I'll be all in for like that block, but then after that's done, I want to really just take a couple of months off and not do anything, and just run for the sake of running and run for the enjoyment. And then if I feel that urge to train for something else, I'll make that decision. And, it might mean that I don't get to do certain events because I haven't planned, to get into that. But I guess I've probably realized I'm not that sort of a person, in that I do need the downtime, or else I don't enjoy it. And I run for the enjoyment, and I don't want to lose that enjoyment by overdoing it, like I probably did a few years ago.
Yeah, it's how do you find that nice balance between all of the things that you love, whilst also then not losing the enjoyment factor of running.
Yeah, I guess I've just realized that in order for me to want to put in the effort, and I know everyone's different, like some people probably would do my level of training and it wouldn't even touch the sides, but I know for me, I know I've kind of figured out what my limits are, and I just have to really want it to have the drive to put in the hours, to be fatigued for however many weeks while you train for something. And I just don't want to be like that all the time. So I have to, really pick the events that really, light a fire inside of me to go, yep, I want to do that, versus a few years ago, I would just go from, event to event and, do the training and do the whatever. And then probably, realize that it wasn't enough for me in the end, and it just caused me to feel pretty ugh. So yeah, so just trying to figure out what balance looks like in my life. And I think it's probably, you know, picking the things that you want to do, not too many of them, you know, building up to them and then taking that downtime before you go again, rather than just bang, bang, bang.
I'm curious then, in this lead up to doing the Myla, what's your training been like? You say you've got a coach. What sort of training are you doing? Are you implementing strength work within that training? Yeah, what do your weeks look like?
Yeah, so that's probably, it's kind of blown my mind a bit with deciding to train for the miler, because I've never been a high mileage person. Like for me, 90 Ks a week, I'm like, oof, look at me go. I'm stoked. But and I've usually run like 4 days a week, maybe 5. I've had issues with plantar fasciitis in the past, and so I've needed the day off after the bigger runs to let my feet settle down. But I, at the beginning of the year, got orthotics, and my feet have never been happier. And it was probably really good timing, because now, like this block, since we, you know, made the concerted effort to train for the miler, I'm running 7 days a week, and I hit my biggest ever week last week, which was 140 Ks, and I was like, this is amazing. Pardon my language, I probably shouldn't say that. And I'm sure for like most people that's like, yeah, whatever. But I was beside myself. I was like, that's the most I've ever done. And I'm like, my legs aren't falling off and my feet aren't, you know, horrific. So yeah, so it's been a good build. And like I've had a couple of blocks where I've had the, you know, 4 weeks, and then sort of the fatigue really kicks in. And so then so my coach is Ben Duffus, so he then gives me an easy week, and then, you know, we go again. And the easy week has like, it's, you know, it's amazing how quickly you can freshen up. And I feel like I've never probably been this fit before, because I've never run this much before. Like I didn't realize that I could ever run this much. So so a week sort of looks like on a Sunday, I'll start on a Monday. So Mondays is just half an hour, and then strength. Tuesdays is a speed session, which for most people probably wouldn't be speed. It's probably more tempo stuff, but for me, it's like trying to run fast. Wednesdays, I run with a friend at Cootha for 2 hours. Thursdays is half an hour, and then strength again. Fridays is a hill session, so hill repeats. Saturdays is a long run, and then of like it's sort of been anywhere from like 4 to 6 hours, 4 to 7 hours, and then Sundays has been 2 hours. So
wow,
it's been big, which is why I'm like, I couldn't sustain it. There's no way I couldn't, and I wouldn't want to. But it's, you know, for now, when I've got the goal, like, you know, I can do it. I can do it for this block and just see what happens. So yeah.
Sounds like you're feeling strong. I'm
Yeah,
loving it.
yeah. It's been a shock. Like I didn't think that I could ever, run this strong. But yeah, see what happens.
It just goes to show how well someone can do without having to push and do 6 days a week, maybe, of training sometimes, that you can actually implement other things and do your strength training and still be rested and body feels good and still get through those kilometers strong.
Yeah, I used to do a fair bit of like on Sundays, and I do a bit of mountain biking, and I've missed that. Like this block, I've sort of, that's, you know, gone by the you know, because it's just not a lot of time to fit that in. So yeah, I'm looking forward to, once this is done, getting back on the bike, because I enjoy getting out on the mountain bike as well. That's fun.
You mentioned having that bit of plantar and getting the orthotics. Have you experienced many other injuries through your life of running?
It's just been those bloody feet of mine.
Huh.
Yeah. And I suppose this year was like, it's like the final straw. I've had plantar fasciitis in like either one foot or both feet for maybe, I don't know, 6 years now. And it's just always something that I just feel like, and I feel like everyone must have sore feet. And like when you talk to people, they're like, yeah, no, that's not actually how. And so I've done all the things, like had the physio, had the shockwave, do the strength, do the bloody rolling and do the whatever. And I was like, there's got to be something else. And I went and saw a podiatrist and she said the same thing. She's like, you've literally tried everything except orthotics. Let's give orthotics a go. And I feel like orthotics are one of those things that people either say, oh, they're rubbish and you'll hate them and you'll ditch them and, it'll be $500 down the tube. And I was like, oh, well, it's $500 that I'm going to take a punt on. And oh my God, I wish I'd done it like 5 years ago. Like, yeah, like it's not 100% gone, but I'm like, holy dooly, this is amazing. Is this what it feels like to run without foot pain?
You've only suffered with the plantar and now you've gotten that under control by the sounds of things and it's working.
Yeah, yes, yeah. Like I had like plantar to the point where I tore my plantar plate, a few years ago. So I've had some good foot stuff, but it's always just been my feet. So yes, yeah, no, nothing else, nothing to complain about, nothing to.
What's your nutrition regime like?
That's probably something that I've had to adjust with this block. I completely have underestimated when you run back to back to back how much you need to keep on top of things. And I had a couple of weeks in the early, maybe a month ago or 6 weeks ago where I felt super flat and I was like, oh, I don't know what's going on here. And I realized I wasn't fueling enough after my runs. So I'm pretty good during my runs. Like I use Spring Energy gels and have one of them like usually about every 45 minutes when I'm running, and have, bananas and mashed potato and sandwich and all that sort of stuff. So I'm pretty good during my runs, but I've just realized how much post-run nutrition is important. And since I've increased my calories on, around big, like long run days and then a couple of days after, I was like, oh, I don't have to feel really horrific after long runs. This is how you feel when you actually get enough nutrition in. So that's been a big learning curve for me, but usually my guts are pretty good during events, but let's see if they're good for 24 hours, good. I don't know. I've been trialing some different like solid foods during runs because I don't know if I can do, gels forever. Like I've never had a problem with gels, but just trialing, some noodles and some other options for solid food just in case I feel like it when I'm out there. So I think
if you can get the nutrition right, you can dial down your nutrition and your hydration, then it's setting you up for a good run, isn't it? If you feel good in the stomach, if you feel good and hydrated and feel like you're, not getting to the point of hunger, then you're doing well, right?
Yes, that's the aim. I hope I can do that. I feel like sometimes the nutrition is almost harder than the running.
It's like an art, isn't it? People think sometimes, oh, you're just running, but when it comes to trail running and running ultras, it's a bit of artwork. It's about problem solving and being able to adjust over the course of, 100K or 100 mile, and whatever hiccups or obstacles you might face along that journey, you've got to be able to rationally, problem solve them. Otherwise, you're going to bomb out, aren't you?
I have visions of like power spews out there. I hope that's not going to come true, but I'm like fully prepared for that, but hopefully not.
Going on that path of power spewing, I'm wondering, do you have any funny or memorable experiences out on the trails? Any funny stories for us of anything that's happened on a race? Or
I definitely have some good, not a power spew, but my first ever 100K solo 100K was at Blackall, the very first Blackall year ever. And it took me 16 hours and I reckon I spent 10 of those hours like diarrhea. And I'll never forget it. And I was running with this guy who I only like I knew him, and I knew him through work. So
Oh,
at the time was working in emergency, and he was a paramedic, and so like we'd seen each other at work, and we didn't have the sort of friendship where you just like rip your dacks down and do a
you weren't having intimate conversations about your
oh my
bowel
god.
movements.
Well, I feel like of anyone, a paramedic's happy, he's seen all sorts of things, but like I was sick as a dog. It was horrific. But he would
Oh,
like keep walking on, and I'd be like, oh, Andy, I got to go again. And he was like, yep, all good. I'm not going to turn around. And he would just keep walking. And it like went on for 10 hours, and it was awful. And I never want to do it again. But I was just like, this is my first 100, solo 100. I'd done like Oxfam and stuff before, but I was like, I'm not going to pull out. Like, this is my first one. I can do it. Come on, like push through the hook. And it was, yeah, I'm I'm hopeful that that never happens again. But Andy and I now have a pretty good relationship. I feel like he's seen a side of me that most people haven't seen, and he's still my friend. And but he likes to remind me of that as well. Remember that time when your way through black hole for 10 hours?
perseverance.
Yeah.
Gosh, you're not just pushing through pain, you're pushing through poop.
It was awful. It was so bad. I royally stuffed up my nutrition. But
Oh,
anyway, you live and you learn, and I never did that again. Never had that
okay.
again.
So you say you
Yeah,
stuffed up your nutrition. Was it the
mm,
night before nutrition or was it race day that you
race day.
just,
Yeah, it was
oh,
like this liquid like nutrition, and I don't know why I thought it was ever going to work for that long or in that heat. What an idiot! Like it was horrific. It was so bad. But anyway,
oh, you live and learn, don't you?
yeah.
And those are the things that people say, do not try anything new on race
Oh,
day.
well, it wasn't new, but I'd never had it like that much. It's like,
Oh,
oh man, I look back on it and just go, what a rookie.
go you.
Anyway,
Oh, well, thanks for sharing or oversharing.
yeah, total oversharer. It's the nurse in me.
Fantastic.
Everyone talks about poo, don't they?
On to another, maybe nicer topic. Has there been anyone who's sort of inspired you in your running journey?
Yes, that's a funny question. I suppose I don't know, like I take inspiration from so many people, and it's not always the people that, the top of the podium or the fastest, or, it's just, I don't know, I suppose it's the people that you just see that, something really awful's happened, but they just keep pushing on, and, they might be just scraping in on the cutoffs, but they don't let that, affect them, and they still keep pushing. Like I find that so inspiring. Like the people that, like I don't have kids. I don't know how people who juggle training and work and kids, I find that inspiring. Like I don't know how they do it. So yeah, I get a lot of inspiration from people like that who, who just keep showing up and who keep pushing on. And but if I had to pick one, if I had to, and I feel like it always, you always meet new people, but one person who I've always looked up to and who I now can call a good friend is probably Lou Clifton. I met Lou when we went to Spain together on the Aussie team, and she is just such a gritty, strong runner. Like she just, some of her achievements over the years just blow my mind. Like last year at UTMB, she was the fastest Aussie at UTMB last year. And Lou is a 50-year-old female who works full time and just bloody kills it every time she goes out there. Like she just came, what did she come at UTA this year? She just came third at UTA, and she's 50. Like, some of the other runners on the podium are half her age, and she just she doesn't let age, it affect her. She just is she seems to just every year get stronger and fitter and more determined, and she's just a really gritty runner, and she's also a really beautiful person and has taken me under her wing and supported me, at different events over the years. And yeah, she's yeah, I think one of Australia's top ultra runners who just keeps on going.
Oh, shout out to Lou. What a
Yeah,
legend.
she's a beast, absolute beast in a good way.
Oh, and I hear
Yeah,
you. Yeah, it's beautiful to see, um, women, like you're saying, in their 50s, smashing these runs. Age does not matter at all. I have some women in my social run group that I think, my God, these women like have got 10 plus years on me and
yeah,
they are running up these hills faster than I am.
yeah, so
They put me to
strong.
shame.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Like, I'm not catching them up a hill, some of these women. It's so
Yeah.
great to see, isn't it?
Yeah. It makes
Yeah.
me like I remember when I turned 40, I was like, oh, on the slide down, this is not gonna but you see people like Lou and you're like, oh I've still got another 7 years, maybe more in me. Like she makes you realize, you're not over the hill you know.
No,
Yeah.
not at all. I think you're just hitting your prime. 40 plus is where it's at, I reckon,
Yeah. Let's
you
say
know?
that.
Yeah, well, we're able to endure and persevere through these distances, I think. Maybe it comes with a little bit of wisdom. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not sure I've got that wisdom yet, but anyway.
I
Geez,
mean,
that's a
looking
tricky.
at your resume, you've certainly accomplished some incredible runs. Like I could see you've done, 6 foot track. You've been down to Kenyani. You've been, all over the shop in different races. Is there a favourite? I don't know that you've experienced.
I love Blackall. Blackall's will always hold a special place in my heart. But then I love, like this will be the third time running at BTU, and I love BTU because it's the home trails. And I love 6 foot track because it's the Blue Mountains. And Kanani this year was awful. It was good. It was beautiful. It was spectacular, but I had a rough day. And at the time, I didn't know why I had such a rough day. It was like I was a slog all day. And then a couple of days later, I realized that I had COVID and unexpectedly run with COVID. And, it makes me feel a bit better because at the time I was like, I don't know what's happened to me. Like this feels awful. And I was like, maybe this is it. Maybe this is the end. Like I can't run anymore. So I don't know. Like I enjoy, I don't know. Every race has got something nice about it. Every race I, find something nice in it. I don't know. It's a tricky
Oh,
question.
it sounds like they all have a special place in your heart, which is really nice. You're sharing the love between all of the races. Oh, well, thank you so much, Jess. I have really appreciated your time. And I think others are really going to value, everything that you've shared. I think you got some good tips for training. And I love your attitude to trail running. And I think you're an inspiration. So I am super excited to see you race at the 100 miler coming up.
Yep.
I hopefully will get to see you cross that finish line and
Will
cannot
you be
wait
out and
for it.
about?
Yep, I will be
Yep.
out and about on that finish line. So hopefully I get to see a handful of the milers there. I can't wait. Yeah, it's going to be a good
Nice.
race. I'm excited.
Yep. I'm going to run with a smile. Hopefully, anytime you see me, I'll be smiling. My plan, we're pretty lucky to be able to do these things. So I've, got it in my head that yes, there'll be some ups and downs, but overall, I'll be running with a smile. So hopefully, when I see you, I can give you a high five and a
Yeah.
laugh.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I think that's a great message. Run happy, run with a smile.
Yep.
Yeah, if you're running happy, you're going to get to that finish line and conquer whatever the highs and lows of that run are. Well, thanks so much, Jess. All right, look forward to seeing you again. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Oh, thank you, Ash. It was fun.